Tell me more. Joining us now is Congressman Adam Schiff of California, member of the January 6th investigation, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Sir, I know this is cramming night. Thank you for making time to be here. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
First, let me ask you for an on-air fact check. Am I correct in telling our audience tonight that the focus tomorrow will largely be the pressure on individual states to overthrow their election results, including that bizarre set of forgeries, those fake Trump electors?
Yes, that's exactly right. And I think you set up the sequence in its right order. We heard about the pressure campaign in our last hearing directed at the vice president, how that campaign put his life in jeopardy, how it was premised on a completely unconstitutional theory and argument. And now you will hear about the pressure campaign directed at state legislators, at state elections officials, even at local elections workers, putting their lives very much at risk. This was, I think, really unprecedented in U.S. history, this broad effort to overturn a presidential election. And you'll see just what the weight of the presidency brought down on these officials.
You told the L.A. Times a little bit more about what to expect in terms of tomorrow. And I was struck by the idea of Trump's individual involvement in the fake elector plot. I think as those of us, as just members of the public, members of the media watching these hearings, one of the things that's been hard to discern is how much the president was initiating some of these ideas, how much the president was simply receptive to any idea that might allow him to hold on to power, how much the president was being critical at all in terms of what he was being told. Was the fake elector plot something that the president took an active role in, or was it carried out on his behalf by others? He knew about it, but didn't necessarily advance it himself.
Well, tomorrow we'll be showing some of the evidence of the president's role in this whole scheme of pressuring state legislators to overturn the election. Now, this scheme was illegitimate from the beginning. Donald Trump lost these states. The whole effort to pressure these state legislatures and legislators was premised on a big lie about massive fraud that didn't exist, trying to get these legislatures to go into session or decertify the win for Joe Biden and certify electors for him, or send these fake electors to Washington. All of that was illegitimate. And we'll explore the role that was played by the president, by his campaign, by lawyers, and present some of the evidence that we've accumulated that explains how that plot to pressure these legislative officials took place and what it did to turn their lives upside down.
You're a former federal prosecutor yourself. Because we're now venturing into the part of the committee's investigation, the part of your findings, that is definitely territory that we know is also the subject of criminal investigation, both at the state level, at least in Georgia, and at the federal level, with the Deputy Attorney General saying publicly that some of these matters are under federal investigation by Justice Department prosecutors. Are you taking steps? Do you need to take steps to make sure that both investigations, yours on the committee and those happening in terms of the criminal law, are insulated from one another and that neither investigation does any harm to the other?
We are very conscious of the fact that there may be other criminal investigations going on, are other investigations going on. We want to make sure that, yes, we're very careful that what we do doesn't interfere with what they're doing. And also that where they have a need for information, we can help and provide it. But look, we have an obligation in Congress, as Barbara McQuaid was pointing out, quite independent of the Justice Department or other prosecutors, and that is to protect our democracy and our institutions. We couldn't very well sit for a year and a half and not investigate an attack on the legislative branch. So the work we're doing is very important. We hope it will be of great value to the American people. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that we are complementary to the efforts of the Justice Department or other prosecutorial agencies and not in conflict.
One last question for you, sir. I know that you're not going to talk about individual negotiations around individual witness testimony, but should the public expect that it is a real possibility that Vice President Pence may end up in that witness chair? That, of course, would be sort of a qualitatively different moment in terms of public accountability here. Is that a live possibility?
I don't know how to gauge the likelihood. He is someone that we have expressed interest and want to talk to. There are others, some very high profile, some not so high profile, that we continue to have an interest in. Whether we'll be able to get them before the committee at this point, I can't say. But we are continuing to encourage, frankly, anyone with relevant information to come forward. We've been the beneficiary of a great many tips from the American people, and we continue to urge people to follow the courageous example of other witnesses that you see appearing before the Congress and that you will see tomorrow.
Vice President Pence, call the tip line. Congressman Adam Schiff, Democrat of California, member of the January 6th investigation, chair of the Intelligence Committee. Sir, good luck tomorrow. We'll all be watching. Thank you.